Hey guys, what's up? This is Dylan.
And this is Sean.
And welcome to our annual FIFA Funnies Barclays Premier League predictions. Without any further ado, let's get on with the video.
Chelsea will retain their Barclays Premier League crown and finish first again this season. I feel like with the likes of Diego Costa and Fabregas, they will continue to carry the team to first.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that any less. I think even with the likes of Hazard, who I think is definitely in the top 10 players in the world, I can definitely see them retaining that crown. In second place is going to be Manchester United making stellar signings in the likes of Bastian Schweinsteiger, new Germany captain after Philipp Lahm's retirement, and the signing of the very talented and hyped Memphis Depay. And with the likes of Matteo Darmian and Morgan Schneiderlin, I can see them getting a very high second place finish and getting ever so close to their 21st Premier League crown.
In third place, we're going to have Arsenal, who retained their third place finish from last year. Now, Arsenal, well, last year they had the likes of Alexis Sanchez, and I feel like this year he will continue to carry them forward into yet another third place finish.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, and if Ozil can perform at the levels that he performed at Real Madrid, I can definitely see Arsenal getting third place, which would be their second year in a row getting third place. So, yeah. In fourth place, we're going to have Manchester City, who made the signings of the much-maligned Raheem Sterling, who Liverpool fans are definitely going to hate for the years to come, but I can see them getting fourth here. I don't think they're going to have as good of a season last year, being the runners-up, especially with the likes of Fabian Delph and Raheem Sterling not being the high-quality world-class players that you need to compete for the Premier League like Chelsea. So yeah, I think Manchester City are going to get the Champions League spot, which they're going to have to go through one round of qualifying, and Manchester City will be the fourth place finishers in this year's 2015-16 Barclays Premier League season.
And in fifth place, we're going to have Tottenham Hotspur, just getting that Europa League spot. Now, this is the team with the wonder kid, Harry Kane. Last year, he had an incredible season. This year will be no different. And he will continue to carry the team into fifth place.
I think with Tottenham signing the likes of Kevin Trippier, who's a very highly rated right back, who I personally think is better than Kyle Walker, even though Kyle Walker has been playing for the England team for at least 2 years now, I think Kevin Trippier is a little bit better, and I think he'll add some solidity to their defense. And in sixth place is going to be Liverpool, who've signed the likes of Roberto Firmino, who I think is a very highly rated player and definitely deserves to be playing in the Premier League. Liverpool had an interesting season last year, getting a 7th place finish. And yeah, I can see them moving up one place to 6th and hopefully having a better season than last year.
In seventh place is Southampton. They had an incredible season last year, going into the top half of the table. And this year will be no different. They will continue to be in the top half of the table, and they will finish 7th.
I think Southampton could possibly struggle, but still get 7th place, especially losing the likes of Morgan Schneiderlin to Manchester United and Nathaniel Klein, another very highly rated English fullback. But I think Southampton will continue to have a stellar Premier League time with getting 7th place and only missing out by the Europa League on 2 positions. Now on to my beloved Stoke City, the team that I support. I think we're going to have an 8th place finish this year. As much as I want to see them qualify for the Europa League, I don't think it can be done, especially with signing quite a few new players in preseason. I can't see the team gelling in time with the likes of Joselu Mato from Hannover 96, Marco van Henkel from Chelsea, and Jakob Hogard, who's a very highly rated Danish keeper from FC Midtjylland, who were the Danish League champions. And yeah, we're going to get an 8th place finish, which will be our record high finish and hopefully a record high amount of points.
And in 9th place is Swansea City. Last year they finished 8th place, 1 place ahead of Stoke City. This year will be a little different. They will swap places as Stoke City, like Dylan said, will be a little bit better than last year. And they're going to outperform Swansea this year.
Moving on to 10th place with Everton, the club who had a relatively poor season last year, finishing in the bottom half of the table for the first time in at least 3 or 4 years. I think they'll get 10th place, just making the top half of the table. Hopefully they can have a better season this year with Roberto Martinez being a very tactically sound manager. I can see them getting 10th place this year, moving up at least 2 or 3 places, maybe even 4 places from last year.
And in 11th place will be West Ham, the team that finished 12th place last year and is currently qualifying for the Europa League. They will move up 1 place with their experience from the Europa League, and I believe they will qualify.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. West Ham, I was a bit frustrated with the fair play rule because I felt it wasn't really fair to the teams such as Swansea and Liverpool that actually played well to deserve a Europa League spot but didn't get anything. So yeah, I definitely agree with West Ham getting 11th place this year. In 12th place, moving on to Newcastle, who've made one signing that really stands out to me, and that is Jorginho Wijnaldum from PSV Eindhoven, who were the Eredivisie champions for the first time in about 3 years, with Ajax having supreme dominance in the league.
And in 13th place will be Crystal Palace. They have some extremely talented players in the likes of Zaha and Balassi, and they will carry the team into a 13th place finish.
I struggled to decide to put Crystal Palace at 13th place, especially with the fantastic signing of Johan Cabaye from PSG. Although, especially since getting 10th place last year, which was a very good finish for them, I can see them dropping down a few places, but still having a good season and maintaining their mid-table status since coming back up from the championship. On to West Brom, who got 14th last year as well, I'm pretty sure. I think we'll continue to get 14th place, especially with good players such as Saido Berahino and Stefan Sessegnon, who I'm pretty sure still plays there. And yeah, I can just see them being a solid mid-table club, not really challenging for any of the top spots, and not really getting into any mixes with the relegation sides.
And in 15th will be Norwich, the highest placing of the newly promoted teams. They have had Premier League experience in the recent past, and they will be the highest finishers of the newly promoted teams.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that, especially with Premier League experienced players such as Cameron Jerome, who used to play for Stoke City and Crystal Palace. Very solid striker, and who also was up there to top scorers in the championship, so hopefully he can have a flashy attack for Norwich and leading them to a 15th place finish. On to Aston Villa, who are just going to miss out on relegation by 2 positions, losing the likes of Fabian Delph, Shay Given, and Christian Benteke. I can see them suffering a lot this season, especially struggling to find goals, and with Austrian frontman Andreas Weimann going to Derby County, who hopefully could be promoted next year into the Premier League. So yeah, I can see them getting a 16th place finish and missing out on relegation, and they might need to make some adjustments to the team in January if they have enough money and if Tim Sherwood can pull off any transfer coups.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dylan. They might struggle to score goals without Benteke and Wyman. Moving on to the 17th place in Watford, the second-ranked newly promoted team. They will just barely miss out on relegation this year.
Yeah, I agree with that. Watford making one standout signing, Etienne Capoue from Tottenham, who's a very solid midfielder but never really got a chance to show his talent, especially after coming from Toulouse FC in the Ligue 1. But yeah, I think Watford miss out by relegation on one position but still have a solid season and only just starting their road to asserting themselves as a Premier League club. In 18th place, the first team to get relegated is going to be Sunderland. I don't think they're that great of a team. Yes, they have Jermaine Defoe and with Sebastian Coates coming in, who lacks pace and isn't a very solid centre-back and hasn't really asserted himself in the Uruguay national team. I sadly can see Sunderland getting relegated, even with Dick Advocat coming in for his second spell at the club after being re-signed.
And in 19th place, the second relegated team is Leicester City. Last year, they were the only promoted team to stay in the Premier League. This year will be a little bit different, though. They will finish 19th place.
Yeah, I agree with Sean on that. Leicester City, even having good strikers such as Leonardo Ulloa, David Nugent, Jamie Vardy. And I think the reason they're going to get relegated is the biggest blow, and I think possibly one of the worst things that happened to any of the Premier League clubs is losing Esteban Cambiaso, who is definitely up there with one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. Maybe didn't get well noticed, but especially from his time at Inter Milan, very solid player and always you could rely on to be a solid guard at the back of the midfield. So yeah. And on to the team that will finish at the foot of the Premier League table is going to be AFC Bournemouth, the newly promoted team. Sadly for them, being the championship winners, I can't see them doing anything this year, only making one real standout signing in Sylvain Distin, who has the record for the most appearances for an outfield player in the Premier League. He is coming from Everton, who he was a defensive stalwart in their 14th place finish last year. But yes, I can't see them doing much. And also, one more signing Bournemouth made was the highly rated English fullback, as I talked about earlier, having a lot of high rated English fullbacks, and that fullback is Tyrone Mings. He came from Ipswich Town. I think he can definitely be a solid guard in their defense, and hopefully, if they get relegated, as I think they will do here, hopefully he can go to a bigger club and move on to better things, and maybe assert himself as in the lineup for an England youth team, in the U20s or U21s, and maybe even the senior team in the next coming 5 years. So anyways, guys, that is our Premier League prediction videos. Hopefully we're not that far off with some of these predictions. If you disagree with any of them, just go ahead and leave a comment. And for now, peace, like, favorite, and subscribe. Peace.
See ya.